Yo, 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 what's up, y'all? Just out here chilling. Woo! I smoke hit my nose, my bad. But yeah, I'm just out here chilling, enjoying a little bit of the great outdoors. I'm up here at Hoover Dam in Westerville, which is, like on the north side of Columbus, Ohio, kind of like the northeast side. Um, yeah, man, I'm just out here enjoying a wonderful Alpha Cigar New Orleans edition absinthe infused Claro. Chilling, man. Taking in a little bit of this outdoors. Just up here at the this is the Oxbow boat launch. Um, for any of you who might be local, I didn't come up here at all over this last fishing season, and the last time I was up here, this boat launch was just a ramp made out of dirt, basically, that went down, pretty much to where that pole is in the water. The water is higher up here than it usually is. This is actually more like a normal water level, but Hoover Dam is always low for some reason. So normally, the water is out past that pole, and then all down the shoreline there used to be where you could actually walk down there, park down there. That's all underwater right now. So I used to fish down there along the side, and then coming in here, I don't know how well you can see it here, but all this used to be rocks, man. It's crazy, you know. All the way down there was just a rock path, basically. There were people fishing on both sides. I'm assuming that the reason that they've changed stuff up here is because that area down there used to be hard to get through because people would park their cars, and just fish, and really it was only wide enough for one car to come through at a time. It's like one of those 1.5 type width things. So it was a mess, but I'm assuming that's why they've rebuilt stuff around here. Um, yeah, but anyway, give me a second to get myself resituated here. All right, my bad. So yeah, just out here and enjoying a cigar, man. We knew into this 2019, fresh year, fresh start. Um, hopefully 2019 brings some good things for me, some good things for you and others. Um, I wish nobody anything but the best. 2018, crazy year, long year. You know, um, one thing I will say is in 2019, you gotta do better in your relationships, right? The stuff that you put effort into, and what you don't put effort into, the stuff you hang on to, you don't move on from. You know, um, one of the things I just really can't wrap my mind around is how many people are in relationships where they don't get along. Like they don't get along at all, or they argue all the time, and you know, it ends up in some sort of physical confrontation, or it ends up in somebody calling the police on the other person. Then now, somebody's in trouble. Um, it ends up in almost hatred, where one person's mad at the other person, so they go out and cheat on them or something like that, just as like a get back, or whatever. Um, Man, leave all that shit behind in 2018, man. Who wants to live with somebody that you don't get along with? Who wants to be with somebody that you don't get along with? Where's the good times if you argue all the time? I mean, ain't that part of what it's supposed to be about? Some people act like it's supposed to be that way, and it ain't supposed to be that way. You know, um, if if you're in a situation where you figure where you get the arguing, and whether you didn't had a couple of drinks or not, whatever, you just get to arguing and it turns nasty and and then either the girl or the guy wants to be all up in the other one's face, trying to get them, to make that move, to take that swing. Um, leave that alone, man. It ain't no place for that, man. If you have to get physical with the person that you are, in a relationship with, then you shouldn't be in a relationship with that person. It should never turn to physicality. And, and I say that, for both sides, man, because, a lot of people jump to defend the woman, and the man is always wrong. I don't care, regardless of whose side you taking or whatever. A man should never put his hands on a woman. Um, but at the same time, that doesn't give women the green light to just beat the shit out of a dude and harass him because they think that he can't hit them back. You know what I'm saying? It's not right either way. Um, and if that's the type of stuff that you got going on, I mean, so then what? You get mad at your dude, or dude get mad at his girl. You end up arguing. Y'all end up in some sort of fight. Police get called. Next thing you know, the man's, generally speaking, it would be the man, but he's getting hauled off to jail. All right, so now you done got hauled off to jail. What does that do for your relationship, right? Um, it could result in a record. Some of that stuff gets dropped, but not always. And sometimes, depending on what happened, it's not in the hands of the other party to say, I don't want to press charges. Once you've called the police and they've showed up, sometimes you can't drop those charges. Okay. Um, so then what? So now, um, here your significant other is sitting in jail. They ain't working. They then lost their job or they're going to lose their job when they get out there. Now they're in trouble at work. They can't contribute to the household. Um, and then, depending on how it goes, they end up with a criminal record. So now they can't get a good job. Especially, man, I've crossed paths with a few people that got like domestic violence on their background. Bro, you can go rob a bank and get a job before a person with domestic violence on their background. Um, you can spend 10 years in jail and get out and get a job before somebody with domestic violence on their background. It's just not worth it, man. And it's not the type of that's not the type of record that you can get expunged. So that's going to follow you for the rest of your life. Um, so now for both parties, you've hurt yourself, you've hurt your spouse, you've hurt your family, you know. It's going to have long-term effects on your income. Um, it's just not the thing to do. And why wouldn't you want to be happy? Life should be about happiness. You got one life to live. Who wants to spend that life arguing with somebody? You know? And a lot of the stuff that goes on, it be petty, man. It's like the type of argument that I would have with somebody, I will walk away from it, or 5 minutes later I'm gonna laugh it off. It'd be dumb stuff. And people be like, it just blows up, and then next thing you know, somebody's in trouble with the law, or the police is getting called, or your family's trying to enjoy themselves. It's a holiday, it's a weekend or something like that. And now we got to deal with you and your drama. I mean, that type of stuff is what I'm talking about. You need to leave that behind, okay? Not just for 2019, just period. Just think about it from the long term perspective. Um, yeah, I mean, I really don't even think I need to elaborate on that anymore. Um, cigar didn't went out, man. Let me get my cigar back on here. What happens? What happens when you talk too much? Hold on a sec, y'all. Sit my phone down. Hope it don't slide off the call. Yeah, man. Leave the unnecessary stuff. Um, something that's heavy on my mind that I could talk about all the time is employment. If you're not happy where you work or with what you're doing, you need to make moves to position yourself, to get away from that job or to get a better position at work or what have you. Um, it's tough out here though, for real. I got these sweatpants on and I'm like sliding off the hood of my car. But take me for example, okay? What's today? Today's the 3rd. On January 5th, I will have been at my job for 10 years. Um, I'm grateful for some of the things my job has done for me. You know, um, I get paid decent. Um, I've made a few moves in the company to move myself up. Um, you know, I got stranded in an apartment for a while. I'll come back to that. Um, so I made a few moves. We'll go back to I made a few moves to better my position at work. Um, my job does tuition reimbursement, and actually they prepay your tuition just as long as you pass with a C. You don't have to pay the money back, which I think is dope. Most places make you, take the classes, pay for them yourself, and then at the end you get your money back. And just so long as you can put the money up for the first set of classes, that continuous process. I mean, I guess you should be okay unless your cost of tuition jumps up drastically. But at the same time, you don't have to come up with no upfront investment in your education, which is dope. And they do up to $8,000 a year, depending on what you want to use it on. Um, me, I used it. I did, and I'll be honest, I don't have my bachelor's degree yet. I've worked on it off and on, classes here and there. But there's some opportunities that I came across that I thought would better my position, um, make myself more marketable. So I enjoy doing things like, from a project type perspective. I thought project management would be a good thing for me. So there's a couple programs at Villanova, that I did. I got a master certificate in applied project management. I got a master certificate in ISIT project management. Those are great programs. University Alliance is who you go through, but it's a program facilitated by Villanova. They send you out plaques, with your credentials as you complete your classes. And Villanova is a very marketable school. That looks good to have on your resume. And then I also did a program through Stanford, Stanford Advanced Project Management. And I'm now considered a Stanford Certified Project Manager. So I got to put a professional title after my name, SCPM. Again, something that would increase my marketability. But my classes that I took for Villanova qualified me to go and test or be able to test for my PMP, which is Project Management Professional. I haven't taken the test yet, but the Stanford program was really meant to kind of supplement that. So I need to go back and I still need to do my PMP. Um, but there's some other stuff that I'm looking at too. Um, but I guess my point is, right, is so everybody's story starts out in customer service, right? So I did my time in customer service when I got to my company. And then I moved on to technical support. At the time, I work for it's the best way I want to describe this because I really don't want to tell y'all where I actually work. But I work for a telecommunications giant. Okay. And I mean, with the advances in technology and, the technology that we have at our hands, I went to tech support and I spent 3.5 years in tech support. Started out in tech, and while I was in customer service, I got my A plus certification, also paid for by my company. Um, and I got in on the last class for the lifetime certification, which has ups and downs. I never have to take it again, but at the same time, okay, when I took it, it was Windows XP and Windows Vista is what they talked about. Windows 7 had been out for like 2 years, 3 years, and they ain't even talk about that. And now what we up to? We up to Windows 10, so if you're gonna take that type of stuff, if you're not a computer guru, you do still need to keep up to date with the changes in technology and these new programs and such. But anyway, so when I did my time in tech support, you had to go 9 months before you could be a tech two. And the qualifications for the tech two was that you had an A plus certification, Network Plus, and that was a Microsoft certification. I forgot what it is. You had to have one of those three. So I had my A plus already. So I promoted up, to the next level in tech support, and I spent 3 years, in that position, right? Um, they always say you go to these companies and they always say, man, be a top performer, get noticed, and you can do whatever you want. So the big thing at our job, when you're on the phone, is your call time. How long are you talking to people? I was one of the top people there, right? Um, Then they want to survey you. What does your customer think of you? What do your customer think of the company? Right? I would consistently get tens. They had some sort of like streak thing going back in the day. I mean, I didn't drop a survey for like almost 2 years, and then the one that I ended up dropping, it wasn't even a us issue. Somebody needed to talk to Dell, like their computer manufacturer. And I told her like, ma'am, this ain't us. I don't want to waste your time, so let me get you in contact with who you need to get in contact with. I dropped the survey, but anyway, that don't even matter. That's pointless. But my point is, they always tell you go out, be a top performer, do this, do that, right? And so, I'm up there, I'm getting awards, I'm getting recognized, and then I'm applying for other jobs, and I'm not getting no interviews, right? None. And I truly believe that once I hit that point that I was applying for other jobs, I had one of the worst supervisors that I've ever had in my life. Um, he was funny, joke around, cool to joke around with, but he was a jerk, man. It was like, and what's crazy, black dude, right? They always say support each other and what have you, but when in the black community, unfortunately, the people who support us the least are our own. And I don't know if he had a problem with me because I was a younger black brother and he was old, he wasn't that much older, but he was older than me, and some people look at that as intimidating, if you move on and move up and get closer to where they are. Me personally, I don't function like that, but unfortunately, um, there's a lot of people that do. So I really believe he was blocking. I really do. But I stayed on his team because he had the best schedule. Man, I used to come in at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I would be off at 3 o'clock. That was love, except for when 6:01 hit and you had somebody on the phone who had been waiting to call in to get help all night while you was closed, and they got some crazy issue. Hey, but that's the job. Um, but yeah, man, I'm applying for jobs. I'm not getting no callbacks, whatever, blah blah blah. You know, um, it took me 13 job applications to get out of there, and I'm talking about like lateral moves too. Not everything was a promotion, and I just couldn't understand it. And it wasn't until I got off of his team that I finally got out of there. So, I mean, I know, at least in my mind, I'll say I feel that he had something to do with it. Because a lot of the times when you apply for stuff, especially an internal job, the first person that hiring manager reaches out to is your supervisor. You know, I mean, I'm coachable. I listen. I do what's asked of me. I might not walk around with the biggest smile on my face at work, but I do my job. My customers are happy with me. I'm padding your stats, making you look good. You know what I'm saying? So, 3.5, 4 years later, I finally get out of that department. Then I go over to the business division. We'll just call it that. And a year. I spent a year on the phone team in the business division. And I had two excellent supervisors, and probably the only two supervisors that I can say I feel like truly believed in me. And when you talk to a lot of people in the call centers, their goal is to get off the phone. Okay, you can ask a lot of people, what's your goal? To get off the phone. Okay, and yeah, my goal was to get away from a phone job, but I knew what I wanted to do. We had a position where you deal with the same customers all the time. You're not tied to a phone. You're doing presentations, you're advising them about their account, you're resolving issues that can't be resolved via customer service. I mean, we talking about big accounts. Um, at times, I've been in charge of up to $25 million worth of accounts. You know, so we ain't talking about chump change. Where the average consumer account, might be somewhere between 150 $200. That's probably about that what the average was, maybe more, maybe say between 150 and 250. You know, but so I finally make it over there. Um, and I made it in a year. I did exactly a year in the business phone team. And while I was there, one of my supervisors who believed in me was like, "Hey, man, you need to take these classes." He's the one that got me hip to the Villanova stuff. He's the one that got me to take the Stanford class. He believed in me. So first application to get out of this department, I get another job and move over to the job that I'm doing now, which I've been at for 4 years now. Um, you know, I can't lie. What I do is easy. It's easy. You got to be smart about it. So it's not, the work technically isn't easy, but I don't know. You come up with a formula that works for you on how you want to do stuff. Your methods, your procedures, how you, this nigga's, I don't know what he's listening to, but it's loud as fuck. Anyways, you come up with the way you want to do stuff, your processes, your procedures, you know, and I've been a top performer in this department ever since I came. Right off the bat, And what they like to do is they like to take stuff. My battery about to die. I got a charger in my car. Um, but what they like to do, at least to me, because they don't do this to everybody, is they like to, every time something goes wrong, right? Every time there's a problem account and they don't know how to fix it, they like to give it to me and say, "Hey, we're going to hand you this shit show. We need you to clean it up." And what do I do every single time? I clean it up. And what do I do while I'm cleaning it up? How I stay in that top performer tier. Damn, man, cigar and rolled off the roof. I shouldn't have put it on the roof anyway. But I stay in the top performer tier every single time, right? And they can't stand it. They really cannot stand it. And I ain't done nothing to nobody, you know. But I see the way they act, the way they do, the way they talk. People come back. You can't say nothing at these jobs anymore because people come back and they tell you what people say, right? There is no such thing as a secret in the workplace, okay? I don't care who you talk to. I don't care who you trust. There's no such thing as a secret in the workplace. All right. But where I'm going with this, right, is again, I do everything that I'm supposed to do to try to get up out of this, department. I've been doing it for a while. To me, it's not a challenge. It's really not. Um, I'm good with people, you know. I turn people around when they're angry. I go out my way to do stuff that a lot of people won't do. They want you to do a lot of automated stuff. Do this way, use this form, use that form. And then you use it or use that process and it saved you time submitting it, but the process be jacked up because they go to somebody that don't know what they're doing or they got promoted because they friends with somebody. And I spend more time fixing the problems with it than I would have did if I just did it up front myself. So I save people a lot of hassle, and my people love me for that. You know, um, but for the past two years, maybe like 2.5 years, I've been trying to move on. I'm trying to move up. I'm increasing my portfolio. I'm making myself look better. I got you know awards. I'm getting recognized for stuff. Um, I'm taking on extra projects and stuff to try to get there. Um, and I can't get out this department. It's crazy, right? And the only thing I can figure is it's another one of them situations where either the person that is your supervisor is blocking you from getting out, right? Or or um well, I don't want to say or, and the reason I would believe that is because my stats are good. You don't have to watch me, You know that I'm down at my desk doing what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. And you can divert that time and attention to somebody else. Right? So I'm applying for jobs, and I get a few interviews. I don't get a whole lot of interviews, but I get a few, you know. And every single interview I get, I'm sorry, ends up being sorry you didn't get the job. All right, well, can I get some feedback on my interview? Every single time. Oh, well, we don't have anything negative to say about you. Your interview was great, awesome. We like where you are in the company. We like what you've been working on, but we hired somebody that's already doing the job. All right, so now, what am I getting interviews? Kind of like the Rooney Rule in the NFL, where you got to interview a minority candidate for head coaching jobs, like. And then, there was one job which I knew I wasn't going to get, but I applied for it anyway, right? And um, the whole time, my supervisor is coming to me like, "Oh, well, you know, well, before I go there, this job, so is like a national job, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to be. Basically, they have a team where everybody's spread out all over the country. Is basically what it is, right? And the person that was actually doing the hiring was in an office in Maryland. So I'm like, great. I've applied for a job that nobody can interfere with here. So, I apply, I go through my interview, I'm waiting, I ain't heard nothing. Um, and finally, my supervisor comes to me one day. I'm like, well, I ain't heard nothing. She's like, oh, well, let me reach out, see what I can find out. And she was like, but before I do, I just want to let you know that, I've been giving updates to the hiring manager about this going on and that going on and who's going to this job and that job so that she's not wasting her time, with this, that, and the other. And I'm like, hold on. I'm like, well, why is she coming to you for updates? She's my friend. We met at a women's conference a couple years ago and now we talk every single day. I'm like, great, right? So she's got her hand in, me getting out the department, man. And that's when the foul taste started, in my mouth. So here I am, I feel like I'm trapped, I'm stuck. I'm doing everything I can to make myself more marketable. I'm trying to. I mean, you work somewhere for 10 years. I've been there 10 years for a reason. So I don't want to leave if I don't have to. But um, I'm not going to be held hostage. And here's the kicker to me: I have applied for and been denied for 51 jobs in 3 years. 51 jobs. Some of these were lateral moves. Some of these were moves up. And the only one that they wanted to give me was okay. I was at one point where I was just fed up, and I'm like, I'm gonna just go back to talking on the phone. I'm like, I can't get out of here. I'm just gonna go back to talking on the phones until I can get another job or whatever. So they was gonna let me go back to the phone easily, but I'm like, man, regardless, I'm like, I'm not in a position to be taking a step back. And for me, that particular position to me would have been two steps back. So I ended up saying, never mind, And we all got the right to decline jobs. There's a lot of people that decline jobs because they find out different stuff, stuff in their life changes, etc. you know. Um, but yeah, that's the only thing that was gonna give me in all this time, you know. And then I complain and basically tell them, like I'm out, I'm ready to quit, I'm about to bounce, and all of a sudden they want to start letting me do supervisor stuff, as if they're gonna promote me or something. When they ain't got no intentions on promoting me. And if even if they did, why would I believe it? I've applied for 51 jobs and got denied. So why all of a sudden am I gonna get one and one that's above where I'm at now? So I say all that to kind of say, if you're unhappy at your work, make moves to get yourself away from there. I have recently started to apply to more external positions, and this is just over the last couple of weeks. I play games. I don't want to say play games, but I put my name in the hat for a few jobs before, just to see, and I got some interviews for some of them, and some of them I was completely not qualified for. But I took the risk. I got an interview. My credentials, my background got me in there, even though I didn't have experience with the jobs. So I know I'm doing something right because I at least, was able to secure a few interviews on that. So maybe I need to look more, external outside of the company. Um, but again, I say all that to say position yourself to where you can make the best moves for you in 2019. If you're trying to get out of your job or, you want to move on to a particular position, reach out to somebody that's doing that or go look at the job posting and see what the qualifications are. There's tons of certificate programs out here that, you can use to bolster your resume. There's project management stuff. There's human resources stuff. There's Lean Six Sigma stuff. Black belt certifications. Hell, um, I found out about a black belt certification that, believe it or not, even my supervisor wants to take for like $129 because my company won't pay you. Won't pay you for that because won't pay for it because they got their own little program that they selectively let people into. So you can go out, you can go around them. There's ways to go around. There's ways to go around the obstacles in front of you, and you just have to find a way around those obstacles. But if you're hanging out at a company that doesn't necessarily appreciate you or that you don't think that you can grow anymore in, you can take your 401k with you. Um, so you don't have to be loyal to a company that's not being loyal to you. Woo. So anyway, and like an example of that, As some of the positions I applied for in my job were project management jobs. Is you gonna spend all this money for me to take these project management classes and get these certifications, and then not let me put it to use at work? All right. Well, the one of the reasons that I chose some of the stuff that I chose was because I knew that if it didn't apply to where I currently work, that it would make if I go work somewhere else. So position yourself, man, for your company, for your future, for you to be able to go somewhere else if that's what you got to do. You are not buying to what you're not buying to stick with um wherever it is that you're employed. You're just not. A lot of people are scared to look outside the company that they currently work in, and you'll be surprised, man. Like, one of the jobs that I applied for was it was for a store chain, and it was a, what did they call it? A retail real estate planner, something like that. Retail real estate planner, manager. I don't remember that last other word, but um, basically, you were a project manager for new store locations. So, you would basically run the project team to open that location from start to finish. If they did some sort of remodel, changeover, stuff like that, you manage those projects. No experience. No, I have no retail experience other than a couple of mall jobs that I had back when I was in high school. Okay. And I didn't even put them on my resume because they had been so long, so old, it wasn't even no point saying nothing about them. But I applied for it, and guess what? I got an interview, and it came down to three of us. And now they did end up choosing somebody that had a background in that. Um, but I didn't expect to get an interview for that job when I applied for it. So I say that to say, step outside the box, man. If you see something that oh man, that's interesting. That might be something I want to do, but I'm scared. I don't want to waste nobody's time. You might not be wasting nobody's time because certain things that you've done or have experience with might qualify you for that job. Everybody doesn't always want somebody that's been doing that job. Sometimes they want somebody that they can basically train from scratch. You don't have any bad habits. They can train you the way that they want to train you. You don't bring over that knowledge and experience that might interfere with the way this company likes to do things. So you'll be surprised. So 2019, step up relationships, even if you and even if something's going good, well, can it be better? Job, relationship, life in general, you know, um, just anything, pick up a new hobby. Um, one of the things I like about smoking cigars and is I get to go, I go to a cigar lounge. People like to talk. I'm not a talkative person, but people like to talk. You never know who you're going to meet and come across in one of these places. I've hung out with people who have absolutely nothing. They're bums. They live in their mother's basement and they're like 50. I've hung out with just the average Joe, somebody like myself who works a 9 to 5. I've hung out with business owners. I've crossed paths with a couple CEOs. Um, you never know who you're going to meet when you're out at one of these things. It's great for networking. But it doesn't have to be, you get into cigars and you go to a cigar lounge. Um, join a community club, like something local in your community. Um, I don't know. There's tons of examples. Join a nonprofit. Just volunteer on the weekends or something like that, or not even on the weekends. They might have an event they do once a month or something like that. Because you never know who you're going to cross paths with. And not only does that give you, allow you to, expand on your knowledge, expand on, talk about things that you normally wouldn't talk about and get involved with. But it might open doors for you in life, from an employment perspective, you know. What if you run into one of these CEOs or managers and you're like, oh, you get to talking and they're like, oh man, well, you do this. Wow. I mean, that would be great. I got a position coming up or something like that. You know, um, Leverage that stuff, man. Leverage that. Um, Networking is big. I never used to understand how big networking is, but it's very important, man. So you should definitely take advantage of network when you can. Build some relationships. It could even be like your son's soccer league. You don't know. You sitting on the sideline next to one of the parents cheering for the team. It's halftime or something, and they might just be like, "Oh, what do you do?" And then boom, next thing you know, you talking, and you didn't pick up some sort of connection. We got to be smart, man. We got to be smart. If you just sit around and all you do is work your job and expect that the work that you do at your job is going to be enough, you can't count on that. And I'm a prime example. You cannot count on that. Okay. So I didn't talk long enough. I can go on. I'm telling you, when it comes to the job stuff and this, that, and the other, I can go on and on and on and on because it's one of the topics that I feel the most strongly about right now. Um, I can say a whole lot more. There's a lot of negative stuff that I left out. There's a lot of stuff that I could have elaborated on. Um, but I'm not necessarily on a mission to bash anybody. It's 2019, and I'm just telling you, that you can go into 2019 and position yourself to make better moves in life. That's what it's all about. Life's a hustle, you know. And if you ain't a hustler, if you ain't a go getter, then you're just gonna have to be complacent and be where you are, and not expect to advance or have any, any positive movement in your life. But if you're, and at the same time though, if you are happy, you've already reached a place where you're happy, and you don't need anything more out of life, then that's fine. You know, um, and that's just period. Like me personally, from like a material things, um, type of position, I have everything that I need and I want in my life. People come to me and say, "Hey, man, like Christmas time, what do you want for Christmas?" I don't know, man. You don't have to give me anything, or whatever. I'm not picky because I have everything that I need. You don't have to buy me anything. It's not about getting new stuff to impress people and stuff like that. So, if you're in and I say that to say that if you're in a place of comfort and you're comfortable with what you have, you're comfortable with where you work, you're comfortable with what you do, just because I'm telling you or others that they need to make themselves more marketable and make changes to advance, if you're happy where you are, that is perfectly fine. You know, I say all the time, you cannot put a price tag on happiness. And that is the truth. Okay. That is the truth. It's your life to live and you need to make the most of it. Make sure you're happy. Don't have a whole bunch of regrets going back when you get older in life. I should have did this. I should have did that. You know, talk so much it's out again. But yeah, man, I'm gonna get up out of here. I didn't intend to talk this long. Um, so if you watch my video, I appreciate it. Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to like my video, dislike my video if you don't like it. Share it. Please share it. You know, um, Subscribe to my channel. There's more to come. Every video I tell you, I'm getting ready to start this karate in the garage. This would have been the perfect first episode for karate in the garage. You know, um, but I'm just out here chilling, man. Again, enjoying some of this nature. I'm up here at Hoover Dam. I don't fish here a whole lot, but I do fish here sometimes, and there are plenty of fish here. Great spot, great place. So that's it, man. Happy New Year to everybody, and I'll holler at y'all later.